Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Conquest Call-In Show. It's the weekly call-in show where you guys, the viewers, are the stars of the show. This week, I'm joined by Ryan Dyrud, as that means we'll be heavy on recruiting. Ryan's been hitting your daily information for recruiting this entire recruiting process. We appreciate all of your guys' support on those things. But tonight, we're just going to talk about portal needs. I mean, almost everything's the class is already settled. It's all old news. The class basically was the class we've been talking about for the past 6 months. It just came in flawlessly. That's probably a conversation we could have regarding this recruiting staff, Lincoln Riley, Chad Bowden, how they brought together. But really quickly, guys, we're just going to talk about the USC portal additions that we think are going to be needed going into this season. We'll hit on the Sherrone Moore fiasco, what's going on over there in Ann Arbor, and then Notre Dame as well. We could talk about that. Our favorite rival was left out of the CFP, and they didn't handle it like champions. They did not handle it like champions. All those thoughts, your comments, your calls coming up next. We've been talking about it for a while, but we've just been getting overwhelming support for this channel from around the USC community and college football community. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Feel free at any time to hit that like button. It really helps grow the show. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? This is going to be a place where you can come for all of your up-to-date USC news, especially in recruiting. Ryan's been covering, like I said, canvassing that beat for a while. Ryan, you're coming up to Surface to do a live show with me. Appreciate you being here. How you doing?
Oh, man, great. Good to be with you. I know I jumped on super briefly last Wednesday, but I miss seeing that beautiful beard of yours that, me and you got
really
a little same amount of gray. We're pretty close to the amount of gray. Mine's just not as long right now as usual, but no, I'm great. Merry Christmas and everything. How are you doing?
Every day is a blessing. Just kind of getting through to getting through the winter time. I'm not a winter person. I thrive for warm. That's my thing. But I'll tell you what, I always enjoy the season. So I mean, the fact that the season's over, except for this bowl game that's coming up, that we will discuss that, I'm sure, a great deal over the next couple of weeks. USC going to be facing an old foe in Texas Christian University, TCU, in the Alamo Bowl. I'm going to try, you guys, put some pressure on Ryan. We're going to get out to that game. We're going to do a road trip if we need to. I've been dangling that out there. But we're pretty soon going to be entering in what the casuals call the off season, but we know here it's just going to heat up with the portal and into spring camp. Before you know it, again, it goes by so fast, you guys. You get the portal, then you get spring ball rolls out, then you start ramping up with all of the media days, and next thing you know, it's kickoff again. But seems far away now, but I remember this time last year, and it goes fast.
Flies by. And hey, you can't really, Tim, you can't really complain too much about the weather, considering it's been 80s. I don't know what it is down, you're close to the ocean, but up in Pasadena, it's been hot. It was 84 today. I'm sweating over here in December. It should be Christmas weather.
It rained for a couple of weeks. I think I wore I wore Levi's for maybe a couple of weeks. I'm kind of a Levi guy or shorts guy. And other than that, not 345 days a year I'm wearing shorts, and that's what I've been doing. So yeah, I mean, I can't complain, but it does get cooler, Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as far as you can't rely on walking out. It's not beach weather, let's put it that way. But I mean, I do love. That's why we pay these exorbitant costs to live here, is because there's no other place to live. I'm telling you,
we pay the weather tax for sure.
Yeah, keep telling people that there's a lot of homelessness and there's a lot of traffic around here, more than this. That's what's keeping everyone. If everyone knew how nice it was here. Thank you, national media, for continuing your campaign that California is a cesspool, because it does keep a lot of the people away.
Yeah, still not enough, unfortunately, but yeah. So okay, while we're getting people in here, let me ask you this, Tim, because everyone's kind of joining in. We haven't really talked about this specifically, so I want to just get your thoughts. The portal exits. So Matai Tagovailoa, Carlin Jones were two of the surprises. Just what are your thoughts? I talked about it on a video before, but what are your thoughts on the portal exits? Any concern, or is this just the new roster building under Chad Bowden in your eyes?
I mean, it happens every year that certain players are processed out. you know, for whether it's what's best for that conversation, that uncomfortable conversation that coaches have, saying where they see, you know, that player within the program. And often it is best for some of these young men to go somewhere else where they can get playing time and exposure, especially in the age of NIL. So, I mean, you know, this happens. It happens. It just seems like it's getting a lot more spotlight on it now with the NIL stuff like this. But we lost some guys, a lot of Trojans that we love, but it just made sense with the gigantic 35 man influx of talent coming in. I mean, people realize, yes, they're not 85 scholarships, but they're at 105. But 35 new scholarships for freshmen, you knew there had to be some movement. Yeah, you just named the two names were the biggest surprises to me in those two. I had a chance a while back to talk to Micah's dad as well. I mean, that was kind of looking for that. But man, you know, and at the end of the day, these guys just want to play. And it would have been great for USC to keep Micah Banuelos as an insanely versatile backup lineman. He really did fill a lot of gaps this year for USC. This season could have gone sideways really quickly without guys like Micah Banuelos stepping up, you know, Kalon Miller stepping up and really plugging some of these holes. This is going to leave this offensive line with a lot of really talented young guys that don't have a lot of experience. You know, it looks like we're getting Elijah Page back, so that's one piece of good news. Other than that, it's like he's the big name that because he got a lot of playing time. You know, that's just on special teams. They spot put him in here and there, and he flashed. Again, there was one play I really drooled about the fact that he just shed his block, came back around, used his speed to close it and make a great play. Not many guys on the roster would have been able to make. He kind of looked like he was the heir apparent to cover kind of what Eric Gentry did best, you know, off-ball linebacker and just that length, that size, that space. I think that he would have done a great job there. But I just think with, you know, a guy with Talon Ely coming in and definitely we talked about it. Veteran linebacker is one of the highest, I think, priority spots USC is going to need to look into when it comes to the portal this year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts, but you know, I'll just kind of add. I'm sure some in here have already heard me say this, but you know, a lot of it's a numbers game, right? Like by my count, Tim, after this 35-person class, with all the expected players that will be leaving for the draft and just players out of eligibility, the roster. This is before the portal opens, so technically these guys are still on the team. The roster is at like 119. So just mathematically, you've got to get cuts down to 105. Oh, and they're going to want to add guys in the portal. So you got to make up those numbers if you're going to add 10 to 20, whatever, 10 to 15 guys. So, I mean, you're looking at 30 guys you basically kind of have to part ways with, unfortunately. And it's just kind of the way college football is now. And again, like you said, when you're bringing a 35-person class, the writing's kind of on the wall that that's the direction you're going. And some of the guys are going to be the odd man out. So as of now, based on what everything we've heard, you know, these were all expected. These weren't like player shock, like a player, like the staff wasn't shocked when a player decided to enter. It was more the staff having these conversations and saying, hey, this is the direction we're going. We think you might fit best elsewhere. With Tagoe, that's the one always that I, you know, and was surprised.
I know you're sad to see the player go, but I'm going to tell you, Ryan, I think you're glad that you're not going to have to say that anymore because his name. I know that Gabe over Trojan Blade got really excited when he was nailing the Poly names. A lot of the Polynesian names can be a bit like, I just say, all you got to do is pronounce all the vowels, kind of like Spanish.
Yeah.
If you hit all the vowels, you may not nail, like I know my Spanish definitely to a native speaker is the accent's poor. I mean, maybe not the right inflection on certain vowels, but I do find that with the Polynesian names, if you just hit all of the vowels, you're going to be okay. I mean, you may not say it properly, but people will know who you're talking about. So
yeah, my problem is I get starting to talk too fast, and so then I'm just jumble it all together. Tongawai, right?
Yeah, just don't do that because I think in English we do a lot of like blending our vowels together.
Yeah,
hit every single vowel, you'll be okay. That's what I've heard. So that's what I've been trying to practice the last 4 years. So
well,
so far so good.
With Matai, that's easier to say, and I get that one right at least. It felt like A was a size thing, and this is just behind the scenes, kind of assuming. I don't like assuming, but that's all we can do right now. Is it just not? It seems like if you look at the roster, Tim, like who's left, every backer is 235 outside of AJ Tuatelli is like 220, but can certainly get a little bit more weight on. Coach Rowe, what's up? So they're definitely looking for that bigger size, and Matai was in that like 200 range, and we'll see if he he's young, he could still put more weight on. So one maybe was the size, maybe there was the thought of like they saw him more as kind of a fringe like safety, like box safety more than an actual true backer, and he was dead set on playing backer because even when he came in on defense, Tim, remember it was like 3rd and long situations they put him in kind of as that extra. He lined up in the backer, but it was more of kind of like a box safety. So it could have just been one of those fit things. And, I think he has a ton of talent. I think wherever he ends up, he's going to be really good. I think he's a great player, got a great motor. But that's just kind of the numbers game we're in. And like you kind of alluded to, they need a backer that's going to be that big, imposing, clog the hole, stop the run kind of guy. And so I think that's what they're going to look for in the portal.
And we just have to get used to this. They tell us that college football fans, you guys want this NFL model. I mean, that's what all the networks. I mean, now I know that's not true. It's what the networks are trying to tell us is true because they want the NFL model, because it's the most lucrative for them and it's a proven game plan. So they've slowly eroded the clock rules. They've ruined regionality. They've definitely blown up whole conferences that have been around for nearly a century. And they're just jamming through everything. And the latest thing is it's kind of weird because at some point they have us at 105. You watch, they're going to, because of the money getting involved, they're going to start contracting that limit down to like an NFL size roster, down even past 85. You watch, that's probably going to be the next step with these guys. I mean, I don't know. I just think this is going to be part of the game plan going forward. I think you can see a lot of roster turnover. We've already seen it. The transfer portal. I mean, we talk about the NIL money, but the transfer portal itself really is the thing that needs to get under control. And that's the thing that's seen in the old days. You'd have your star linebacker or quarterback almost a given for 3 years, because if you're playing, you're not going to want, or if you're the backup, you're not going to take a whole year off in order to, learn a whole new system, but also have to set that mandatory year. As soon as they got rid of that, they waived that, it just became a free for all. And then, unrestricted free agency. So they're going to have to get some guardrails on that, I think. And I'm pretty sure there will sooner or later. But we hit on linebacker. So that's definitely somewhere. And another place that they're looking at as far as, by the way, guys, this is a call-in show. So if you want to hit us up and let us know your thoughts, 888-997-4539. I'll go ahead and drop the StreamYard link as well. I know some people are on TVs. They want to call and use the phone. I know people are on their phones. They want to use the StreamYard. So we will accommodate both. But the other position I've been kind of keeping an eye on, especially because a big name, one of the early big names in the free agency market, I'm not going to call it the portal, was Nick Marsh. And we know losing for sure. Lemon's gone. We've been talking about for the whole season, really. And right on the wall was like early in the year we knew that he was gone. And then Jacoby Lane, I just don't see a world where he's coming back. I mean, I know he probably could come here and get some great tape and be the man for 1 year, but I think Jacoby, I've heard from a couple things from people through the grapevine that reasons why that are kind of off the field reasons why just Jacoby loves USC. And I've watched him interact with Lincoln Riley after games with his kids, with people. He's very close. So it's not an issue where I don't think he wants to leave USC. Mm-hmm. I just think there's aspects of being a college football player that, you don't have to do in the NFL, guys. You make a heck of a lot more money, so no fun league. There's a lot more you can do. And I think, I just think that Jacoby Lane has the opportunity to get out to the NFL, show his talents. We know we've seen him. We know he's going to be successful in the NFL as well. So, I mean, it's no brainer. He's gone. So the idea that there are guys like a veteran athletic guy like Nick Marsh that could be that alpha go-to number one wide receiver one, whatever you want to call him, is out there. And I think that wide receiver, although we have insanely talented young guys, both on the roster and coming in, that's somewhere, Ryan, that they're going to have to look.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans, and I get, but you see the young guys on the roster this year, you see the 6 receivers in the 26 class and just assume like, okay, that's not a position that they'll go for, but you don't want to go into next year with all that inexperience. I mean, you'd basically go into next year with Tinuk Hines, who played great as a true freshman, but you're basically asking him to be your wide receiver 1 as a true sophomore. And then everyone else around him either has 0 college snaps, or you're leaning on Prince Strawn and Zacharias Williams, who are basically hurt all this year. So I'm not saying it'd be a disaster, because I think there's a ton of talent, and I trust in, Dennis Simmons and Chad Savage and this coaching staff. But if you can get a guy like Nick Marsh, or, which we'll get to later, the whole Michigan Sherrone Moore thing, Andrew Marsh, All-American freshman, their receiver, like maybe he hits the portal. And I know he's young, but he had a lot of experience playing this season as a true freshman. So I just think it's likely that USC will go after one, productive receiver. And that's not to take anything away from the young guys. You don't obviously want to take away reps from these young guys, but in a year where it's kind of playoff or bust, you really do want to have a guy that's proven, as opposed to a true sophomore and potentially 2 true freshmen as your 3 starting wide receivers in a really tough schedule. So I think they could probably, Tim, I don't know your opinion, I think they could learn as they go and do all right. I mean, when you look at Boobie Feaster, when you look at Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Trent Mosley, I think is one of the most underrated receivers in this entire class. Luke Weaver is the most underrated receiver in this class. Like, so much talent. And then not to mention Ramiro Eisen and Corey Sims, who were freshmen this year, who we didn't see, but obviously are developing behind the scenes. Like, the talent's there, but it's just too much unknown to go into this year. And when you look at this defense this year, like, for all their faults, their biggest issue was youth. They just had to learn on the job and had those youth growing pains. You don't want that again next year, especially from a receiving core, which has always been a strength. So I do think they'll go after one proven guy and then keep developing everyone else behind the scenes behind them.
And Coach
Cost
Simmons,
obviously is a big deal, though. How much are they cost?
I mean, but with Coach Simmons, he's just shown it, whether when he's at when he's at Oklahoma with Hollywood Brown or with CeeDee Lamb or D.D. Westbrook, on the Oklahoma days, or you come here with Jordan Addison and Mekhi Lemon this year. I mean, he's proven that he not only can get this talent, he can coach you up and make you a star in the NFL. And
yeah,
I think that Lemon's just one more proof of this, and obviously Jacoby will also be that. So I mean, I think that his name, star power, and his track record with wide receivers will allow USC. It's one of those positions I think USC will, and it's a position where USC has always thrived.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it. Going back to when I was a kid, going all the way back to like Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, you get these now. Granted, Keyshawn's a special occasion, the fact that he was growing up on the campus as a ball boy and all that. But I mean, USC is always getting, the Curtis Conways, the John Jackson, just going all the way back, getting some really high caliber local guys. But then also in the past, like maybe 25 years, going out and getting the best receivers in the country, like a Mike Williams. So you just pumping out this talent at USC, and Coach Simmons just does it on the regular as well. So, I mean, wide receiver is just like running back at USC, just like especially running back under Lincoln Riley. But that's a good question. The one time I think in the years that he's been that Riley has been here, right? I think this is a year that they don't clearly need, which is great. But every year they've gone in and they brought in a veteran stud running back, and I think this is 1 year, with the returning talent that we have. I think that USC has the luxury of being able to sit back and have Wayman Jordan and all the young guys. Now, Brian Jackson, obviously, we're talking about portal. Brian Jackson, if you guys have been living in a cave, has left. He's put his name into the portal. I guess he hasn't left. He's put his name into the portal. But what are your thoughts on that, Ryan? I mean, I think that the running back room is all set.
Yeah, as long as Wayman Jordan returns, which I would expect him to after being injured, he'll want to come back and boost that draft stock up. So as long as he returns 100%, I don't think you don't need any.
And I mean, King Miller, we didn't see that coming.
No, exactly. So you got to figure Wayman Jordan, which might play in the bowl game. I mean, if he's coming back, he should be healthy enough. He's way past his timeline now once the bowl game's played on December 30th. So should play in the bowl game. King Miller. And then you got Harry Dalton and Riley Wormley, who are freshmen this year. And then 2 of probably the most underrated backs in the country in the 26 class, in Deshaun Rideau and Sean Alston. So, I mean, you're pretty stacked at running back. It would be, I think, a waste to go get a portal back. I mean, if you get a portal back
with Rideau and his production and high speed, and then like I know that I know everyone, a lot of people I know are really high on Sean Alston. I mean, yeah, and then and forget. I mean, look at last year's bumper crop of. So yeah, they are so deep at running back again, albeit outside of Wayman Jordan and King Miller. King Miller, our veteran running back. They I think they have a good combination. If anything, they have a logjam, and there's a possibility that we might see one or more of those running backs because it's just too much talent in this day and age of the transfer portal and NIL to have that kind of logjam. I mean, if we're as talented as I believe we are at the running back position, there may be a casualty or two more from that room. We'll see.
Well, that's what you're alluding to, Tim. That's exactly why B-Jack hit the portal, right? I don't think it's because he didn't want to be a Trojan. I mean, he was a super unselfish. We both talked to him at multiple times throughout the season. Super unselfish back. Just wanted to do what was best for the team. Wasn't flashy about his own stats, but you have to have production to show NFL teams, and there's just too many guys here that he kind of got lost in the wash, as our coach Rowe likes to say. So for him, it was just he needed to go find an opportunity where he could be kind of the dude. And so, but that's the writing on the wall, is they don't need to go get a portal guy. If their own guys have to leave because there's not enough room, you're not going to go grab someone else. So yeah, that's one position. Just put a check. That's ready for 26.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, offensive line. I think this is somewhere that needs to be visited. I mean, USC has done a hit and miss job in the portal, more miss than hit when it comes to bringing in veteran the portal for the offensive line. Now, the one question mark that we have really is going to be at the center position because Jean-Marie Reed doesn't have any more eligibility left. And then Killian O'Connor is probably getting that, with that lower leg, that knee, whatever's going on with him. I'm sure that's getting sorted out. I know he had a procedure here, at the end of the season to shut it down, but that's a big question mark there. And I think that whereas I do see that Killian O'Connor has been, I mean, again, I'll talk about guys who are godsends stepping in. We had Connor and you had Mike Banuelos step in vital roles that were Kaylon Miller, where this line needed it. Mm-hmm. I think to get USC to that next level, I think that some of our linemen, size wise and strength wise, just weren't up to the task in the Big Ten, and we saw that whether it was just a lot of it was the bigger guys, it was combo blocks, but some of these other guys were just one-on-one getting driven back 4 or 5 yards. So any thoughts, or specifically at center, and then I think the rest of the line has, again, that mixture we just talked about, some really quality veteran depth, along with some unproven guys that have come in over the past 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm excited, Tim, to watch this bowl game and see what this offensive lineup is, because O'Connor and Page will both be out due to injury. So you're going to be like, what kind of lineup are they going to do? I think Kalen Miller ends up playing center in this game. I think with his size, he's actually more suited to be a center than a guard. And that's probably his more suited position. So we could see him there. And then it's, do you keep Raymond at left guard, and do you start like Elijah Vacona at left tackle, like get him some reps in this bowl game? Or do you move Raymond over to left tackle and bring in Hayden Treader at left guard? So this bowl game will kind of tell us a lot, I think. And what's luckily now that the portal doesn't open till after kind of bowl season on January 2nd, we'll get an opportunity to see some of these young guys play. And then that can kind of give us some answers, because the other big question is Elijah Page officially returning? Like, I don't think he'll go to the draft just because of the injuries that he sustained this year. I think he'll need to put another full year of health out there. And so if he's back, then okay, cool. You're good there at left tackle. I think Killian O'Connor will go into next year as your slotted starting center, but I think Kalen Miller can compete with that. And I think Brett Colajay will compete with that as a true freshman. And then you would assume Alani Noah is your slotted right guard. Justin Tawanu'u is your slotted right tackle. Tobias Raymond's your starting left guard. So you could go into the season with some clarity on that. But to answer your question, you may still want to add a proven vet that it can at least push those guys and compete in case injuries happen, like we've seen every year. So hard to tell right now. I don't know your thoughts, Tim, but I think the bowl game is going to tell us a lot. Like, where are guys starting in the bowl game, and where do they see this youth when it does come to Vicona, Alex Dunn, or Aaron Dunn, Alex Payne, all those freshman tackles, Hayden Treader. That's going to tell us a little bit more about what they think of who they have and if they need to go get a guy or two in the portal. I don't know what you think on that.
No, I think you nail it there. I mean, you brought up Brett Collier and Kenai Pepe. I mean, those guys, they're going to push for playing time at some point next year. I'm not saying that they're going to unseat some of the lettermen that have been here for a while. I'm just saying that really that Pete Carroll competition, that just pushing, and the guys, that's what makes great teams as well. Your position is not safe if you got guys that are coming after your job. And the day of NIL, these guys are coming for your job big time. I think you brought up a name, Hayden Treader, that I've really wanted to see a lot of. I think that we will definitely. I got a good feeling we're going to see him mix somewhere into this bowl game for sure. Yeah, they have a lot of options, and we talked about it. We've talked about them being very versatile. But with Elijah Page, the one question mark to why he's not entering the draft right now is just truly because of he's just had no injury luck whatsoever the last couple of years. And so I'm sure he wants to come back and show that he can stay healthy. A perfect example for Elijah is, a friend of my mom and dad is Anthony Munoz, and where he was here at USC, he has multiple knee surgeries, misses most of his career, really. Comes back for the Rose Bowl and just absolutely crushes Ohio State on the way, on a very solid team. And goes on to NFL, not only to be a perennial pro, but also, get that gold jacket. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame, but I'm saying is it's not uncommon for these guys, just because you get some injuries early on in your career doesn't mean that you're going to consistently have it. So, and I know that people know that, but he needs to put it together. And for that reason, though, and because I will say it, Tobias Raymond is a great guard, but has not looked very comfortable out there, we put it left tackle for sure. And Justin Tuanu, he's solid too, but I would like to see like a veteran swing tackle as well. Do you bring in a guy who just can have that veteran pick up the offense quickly, already have that weight and ready to go, just ready-made coming in? Having that veteran swing tackle would be something I think that this team absolutely needs. And I think it's probably a target that they're going to go for. So maybe center and maybe a swing tackle. I think our interior linemen, our guard positions, we got a lot of depth at guard inside. So it's just really maybe adding one more piece of that veteran guy to the room, because this offensive line, the tackles, especially names we talked about with, Tobias Raymond came in skinny and whatever, but all last year, you're there whenever you had Hansen or Riley talking about, especially Hansen, talking with a technician that Tobias Raymond is. I mean, whenever you talk about Tobias, just how he does everything just correctly for him, etc. I think that shows you that he's going to make another jump coming into next year, and he's already playing really great at guard. I think just pushing him out to tackle is just not it's not for him. He was kind of forced in that role, but so guard position, I think we're solid. Yeah, I'd love to see a veteran swing tackle. So that's offensive line. What about what's the position? I threw them out. Once you go ahead, I've been doing all that. Where's another position you think, since my bad. See, been a long day, guys. Hi, caller. Oh, what is your name? Thank you for hanging in there as long as you did. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you guys doing? Mitch from New Jersey. Merry Christmas, happy Festivus.
For the rest of us, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Mitch, calling in as always.
You know the rest of the line. I can agree with you with the running backs. I wonder, days. I don't think incoming running backs. They don't carry. They want to just leave. You want to bring in talent, and it chases other talent away, I guess. And then I want to mention about the. You think we're gonna have Jones, and you think Mayava and will be with us next year too? Because Jam and quarterback is a very high. It gets a lot of attention, and showing you stuff. It's pretty good quarterbacks, on the team. Anyway, thanks for taking the call. Show.
Appreciate it, Mitch. Mitch, great call as always. I think Mitch is becoming like about as regular a caller as I think we've had over the past like month or so. And just want to let you know,
Yeah.
Mitch, appreciate you calling in again and supporting the show. Yeah. So what were your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mitch. You on my end, it was kind of cutting out, so I'll try to answer the best I can. But I was getting stuff in spades. But thank you, Mitch, as always. Good to hear from you. I think was asking about running backs and too much talent chasing other guys away, right? Something on those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was cutting out for me too, so I think it was just you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's unfortunately just the kind of day and age we're in college football. But as long as you have a strong culture and there's only one football, so many guys can get reps. But if you have a clear vision and kind of a clear pecking order, if you will, so these young guys know, like, okay, hey, we got Waymo and King, and then Dalton and Wormley get some reps, and then we're kind of the next guys to start taking those reps over. Next year, King and Waymo will probably be gone, so then it goes to the next two. Then we're like, obviously you're going to compete to take those, but it's not going to scare guys away if you kind of know the vision of kind of what you're looking for. Now, it's also a meritocracy. Like, you want to be a true freshman and win the starting job. Like, you shouldn't come in saying like, all right, I'm just going to practice for 2 years and then it's my turn 2 years from now when those guys are gone. But you do want to have some of that vision recognition, but then also know that, hey, this is open for anyone. Like, I don't care how much NIL you have. I don't care what year in the system you are. I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior. Like, the best player will play. And I think that's been a conversation with this staff. I've seen fans say it. From what I can tell, I think that they do that. I don't think they shy away from guys that make less NIL playing over more NIL, or guys that are younger than other guys. Obviously, they have a system of how you earn it in practice. So maybe it takes longer than some people want to see, but yeah. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that's healthy. You want competition to come in, and if it scares some away, then hey, you probably shouldn't be here. Like, if you're scared of competing and you think guys are too talented, then you probably shouldn't be here at USC, and you should be elsewhere.
Yeah, I was going to ask Mitch to follow up on that. He was cutting out for me too, so I think you nailed it. I did. Having too many guys, having too many dudes at one position so that they're transferring out over each other, that is not a bad thing to have. I mean, Brian Jackson's gonna go somewhere, make some money, and do very well, and get a shot at working himself into the NFL. That I know that he's talented. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to start. Where he goes from there, is I think that is going to come down to what the opportunity he gets. But having the situation where a very talented back like Brian Jackson is going to be moving on, that says great things about your program. It's the other way around when in the past where we've really had just struggling from one guy to another, trying to get a proven connection. I think that the one thing through Lincoln Riley, though, I was talking more like the Helton, even with the Helton, look at the Helton at running back at USC. Even if you have Helton as your coach, you're going to get NFL running back. This is tailback you. Don't let anyone at Georgia tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you that this is not tailback you. This is running back you at USC. There's just simply no denying it, and nothing proves that more than the fact when USC was struggling on the field, both under Helton and for a couple seasons with Lincoln Riley, you're still getting dudes that are lining up to come to USC to play running back. So that's one position and one problem that's good to have. I was going to put it that way.
Yeah, 100%. And then his next question was about quarterback with Maava and Longstreet, and that's probably, Tim, the biggest question. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, a lot more leading up to the bowl game. But what does Maava ultimately decide? And if he decides to come back, does that push Husan Longstreet to the transfer portal? And I think Husan loves USC. Like, the dude lives on the football field and in the weight room and just taking it. And I think he knows the opportunity he has with Lincoln Riley. But not many 5-stars will sit for 2 years. And there's been one that I can think of. Arch Manning did at Texas, but he was always making $3 million a year to sit. So it's a little easier to sit when you're the highest paid player in your entire team as the backup. Would USC be willing to do that with Longstreet, or would they say, hey, we'll keep paying you what we're paying you, but we also got a guy in Jonas Williams who's coming in, and if you leave, we'll just kind of pass the baton to him. So it's a big question. It's one that I don't know the answer to right now. But that's obviously a big decision for Jade Maava. I think for him, it would be smart to come back. I think he would be good to have another year in film, but also, Tim, It kind of depends on what other quarterbacks go. Like if Dante Moore decides to come back to college, if Ty Simpson decides to come back and it's literally Fernando Mendoza, Maava could end up being a first-round pick just because there's no other quarterbacks to choose from. So it's gonna be really fascinating to see what happens at quarterback, and it will have an impact on, you know, kind of the USC future.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, and it's gonna be a big decision. And I would just put out there, just adding to what you put, I think you hit it perfectly. I think you will wait your turn here at USC, because one, I think they will have a lucrative NIL package for him to be the backup, because you guys are you're one play away from your backup. So you don't want to have a true freshman Jonas Williams as your backup, you know, whatever the situation might be. I think they'll do everything they can to keep both those guys happy. But also playing, you know, having Luke Heward and Lincoln Riley there, developing you as a quarterback, is having one more year in a system. Even that alone, regardless of playing time and how much playing time you get, it's going to be the NFL scouts are looking at that as well. And Lincoln Riley puts out NFL quarterbacks. That's so sure. And by the way, for Manning, it's also nice to have 3 legacy quarterbacks from the NFL. That, you know, when you come from money, it's a little easier to hang back and not have to, you know, go out and try to support like your grandmother or someone else within your family that might need that money earlier than you. But I think a lot of that's gone away with NIL as well. I mean, whatever these even backup quarterbacks are getting is more than enough to put food on the table and take care of bills and things and buy family members cars. So, I mean, that's not an issue in college football anymore. I'm going to drop the StreamYard link because we aren't going to be on much longer. And I did want you guys to weigh in on this. Jeff Rodriguez brought up the position I think that they might go also tip their toe into, and that's at the cornerback position, because he brought up the fact that, and so remember though, you're getting Chasen Johnson back, who's that guy who could be your field press corner. You've got that guy. That's number one. You have a situation also where you're going to have RJ Sermons, who I've been high on for 2 years, watching him play. He's a dude that's going to come in and he's going to be really highly successful there. And I just wanted to pick your brain about it just really quickly. I know they lost Braylon Conley, who again would have been a great depth piece. I think his development was coming along, maybe not fast enough for impatient fans, but yeah, he's a bit inconsistent. But, you know, tackling wise, I mean, shoot, there was no one else out there on the corner that I was more happy to see making plays, because with the exception of one play, but everyone's going to react a little slow once in a while. But outside of that, he really did show just an incredible ability to tackle on the outside. A couple of the covers things that he had also were really not on him. He was more tangled feet. There were like 1 or 2 plays where he had struggled, but you know, so does Celis Williams, and both of them I think were kind of competing down the, and Celis was kind of outpacing him, but there wasn't like it was completely a massive difference between the two of them. So I thought you'd see a lot of Conley coming into this year without him there, but I just think that he looked at what was best for him. Again, another guy that you know is going to be talented, is going to get out, is going to be able to play almost immediately for another team. You know, with what he's going to bring in, he'll be competing right away. But having guys at corner also, I mean, we talked about having that press coverage guy, Albert Hill. You guys, if you haven't seen film on him, just a huge pickup to pull him out of Ohio. It's just incredible, a coup for this group. So, you know, Trevon Reed and all those guys, just a great job getting him. And then you can't have the conversation at cornerback without talking about Brandon Lockhart, who was, as early as I can remember, trying to pull people into this class, this massive class that USC had. But you can go on for days. The length of a Josh Holland, does he stay at corner and move to safety at some point? I don't know. There's a lot of options for these guys, Ryan. We got a VIP just popped in the back, but you want to hit cornerback really quick?
Yeah, I'll be super quick, and then we got 2 in here, so great to see and excited to chat with my man here, Coach Rowe. What is up? Yeah, I'll just be super fast. Yeah, I think cornerback and just secondary in general, DB is a position that they'll look at in the portal for sure. You know, you've got some really good safeties that have entered. When you look at, you know, Boo Carter out of Tennessee, you've got Khalil Barnes out of Clemson. So some high quality players that could come in for 1 year while they're still developing some of the other young guys. But like you said, Jason Johnson back, you know, you don't want to rely on a guy that was injured all year as being the true lockdown, but I know they believe he can be that. I think RJ Sermons is going to be hopefully what Dijon Lee was for Alabama this year as a true freshman. So if you can get that kind of production from him or an Albert Hill or a Brandon Lockhart, then you're looking really good with Marcellus Williams there. So I think it's a position they'll look at. I don't think it's as big as a need as maybe some people think. But I think they'll certainly look at it. But Coach Rowe, what's up, brother? Looking good. How you doing?
What's up, guys? Long time no talk.
Long time. How you doing? You're on mute, Tim.
Sorry, my bad. I brought up wide receivers, and Coach is just rattling off just the point I made. Just all of these stud receivers, whether they're from the city section or they're from Southern California or they're from New Jersey or Florida or Ohio, tight ends from Ohio. USC again has had no problem with those skill positions. But Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. How you guys been?
Good, brother. Just on that grind. How about yourself?
I've been good. I'm off-season bored.
I know. Now you finally have some free time all of a sudden.
Yeah, I do. So shoot the invite.
Anytime.
All
But
right.
what's up? What you feeling?
Nothing. This is what I was going to say. This year and a little bit last year, the transfer portal is a lot of guys who've been lost in the wash, right? Besides the two freshmen that are leaving, most of them are lost in the wash, like Brian Jackson, the corner that left. A lot of these guys have been in the system for 2 to 3 years and haven't really became the guy yet, right? And I remember when this thing first started happening, I'm like, the portal's for people who get lost in the wash. These dudes are lost in the wash, and they get an opportunity to go somewhere and be the man, right? We're not really I think this is the first year, right? We still have some time, so knock on, but this is the first year where guys are entering their names in the portal, and we're not panicked by it, right? We're not like, oh man, we just lost another guy. Oh man, we just lost another guy. Like the guys we're losing, we know where they're going. They're going to the NFL, right? We know Lemon's going to the NFL. We know Jacoby Lane's going to the NFL. Like we know Gentry, his time is up. Like the guys that we're actually losing are guys who's been through the system and they're going on to to the next phase of their life. This year, this portal was like, okay, yeah, we wish Brian Jackson could have been a lot better, but it's not what it turned out to be. I wish him the best of luck. Right, the two freshman kids were like, we wish we could have seen him play, but it doesn't really kill the depth. And then today we get a freshman linebacker who's a Polynesian. It's like we're just replacing one with the other. So that kind of ended up working. And then a while ago, Ryan, I know you remember this, and maybe you can answer this question for me. Where do you think we are on portal and recruiting? Do you think we flipped it to where we're at 60% high school, 40% portal, where we need to be? Or do you think we're the other way around?
No, yeah, I think we're maybe even 70-30. I think they're only going to add 10 to 15 guys in the portal. It's going to be 10 impact guys. Obviously every year you hope they're impact guys, but I think, yeah, it's definitely, I think 70-30 high school portal.
And if it is 70-30, that's showing a successful program that's coming along. Now, are we going to be where we need to be? We have this talk all the time. Now we're relying on a lot of freshmen, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, if we're at 70-30, we're moving in the right direction. Remember, at one time 2 years ago, we were at 80-20 portal high school.
Yeah.
So we're definitely moving it in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think that, to your point, Coach, too, and you can even speak on this being a coach, is in this like NIL era now, like before you were investing in players just in time and obviously, scholarships and school resources, but now you're actually investing money. So you can kind of, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you can see, like, I'm sure you as a coach can see this, like if a guy is like, okay, he's had a year in the system, we've seen him develop, like, do I see him as a future starter or is he kind of a depth piece kind of guy? And if you see a guy that maybe doesn't project as being that shutdown guy, you're like, do we want to pay $400,000 a year for this to be a depth piece, or do we go spend that money allocated elsewhere? So I'm not saying that's happened to all these guys, but that is now a conversation that didn't exist 5 years ago of like, hey, do we want to spend for depth when we can spend for an impact starter that can start like, this year?
So you guys were talking about it earlier, right? You're looking at the NFL piece of it. If I'm paying $400,000 for a guy that redshirted, I'm good with a $400,000 value on a guy that redshirted. I'm not good with a $4 million guy on a value on a guy that's redshirt. You know what I mean? Like Jakeem Stewart is earning his money.
Yeah.
right? He's out there making plays. He's earning his money. We have him for 2 more years, right? It's safe to say, nothing happens. We have him for 2 more years. That's $1 million guy.
Yep.
I will spend $500,000, $400,000 on a redshirt development guy. That's where we are. You have to start looking at the value of these guys. There's no such thing as a $20,000 team. You won't get those guys, right? That's lower level college football. Like we're talking guys. You have to at least pay 6 figures in order to at least get them to walk through your door. So and I think this is happening. I'm not for sure, but I think this is happening. Guys who are redshirt are going in and asking for a raise, and they're like, "No, I'm not giving you a raise. Okay, I'm just going to enter the portal," and they're going to go try to get more money. Which then you start to question: are you in it for the love of the game? And in the linebacker situation, was he afraid to compete because they brought in another linebacker that's kind of like him, exactly like him? You know what I mean? Like you start to ask those questions too. I'm not saying that he was, but you start to ask those questions. Was it more money? Was he afraid to compete? Like what will really make him walk out of the door on your redshirt year? You didn't even get an opportunity to truly develop. So, 400,000, I will keep paying that 400,000 for a redshirt guy going to his redshirt year. Am I going to give a raise? No. And I really don't know how the money works. You and Tim know that way better than I do. But like depth piece wise, I'll pay that for a redshirt guy. I'll pay that for a depth guy. I would assume that's the going rate.
Just think about this. Like, how wild is this conversation that we're talking about a redshirt depth piece, 400,000? That's more than a practice squad NFL player. Isn't practice squad NFL like 350? Or is it 5 now?
I think they're up to 5. Or
Maybe it's 5
they're at
now.
750. I think they're at 750.
Well, at one time it was like 350, I remember, which is insane that we're having this conversation about a redshirt freshman depth piece making more than that.
All I know is that if I was a redshirt freshman making $400,000 or $500,000, I would not complain. Yeah, I'm not going to off that's for more.
No chance.
A lot of the reported dollar amounts, I think, are heavily inflated. But I mean, but just you don't have to look further than I think a lot of the players now have looked at it.
Stop, get out.
Maaleva over at Tennessee going to UCLA and the quagmire that was where you don't want to play. I think a lot of these programs, kind of like the early NFL before the players union got a little more leverage. I think back a little bit. I think at first it was like the players were kind of up there, but I now think when you get real guys in there negotiating, like a Chad Bowden versus a USC, that you're not going to have these agents really strong arming and get these crazy deals together. And I think there's probably more. I'm sure the chat can let me know where guys played that game and came out losers. And I think I think those stories will be enough to get the players to realize the opportunities that they have. And of course that money is good, but everyone here knows it's peanuts compared to the NFL money. First round draft pick money, your second or developing in college, getting to a good fit, for your skill set in the NFL, and then getting that second contract. That's where the real money is going to come from. And I hope that these people, the good thing is also that's come out of this is I think they're getting some real advice from real agents now, and not these guys that are hanging on, them and trying to make gravy train them, relatives or whatever in the past have led. Even at USC, we have a pretty good example of somebody that kind of possibly could have derailed a young man's career. So, I mean, we'll see where all that goes. But do you want to hang on for a minute, Coach Rowe? We bring on another caller?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, you should be able to just add him and it'll just be the audio.
And then, hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, boys? This is Thomas from Duarte. How you guys doing today?
Thanks for calling in.
What's up from Duarte? Nice, right?
Hey,
Where
man,
my wife's
appreciate
from.
it. Oh, nice. Really?
Yeah, Duarte High School, baby.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I grew up in Orange County, and then actually, the story kind of ties into what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the bowl game. So I grew up in Orange County, grew up on USC, and then did my undergrad at TCU. So when the bowl game got announced that it was USC TCU, like I was really excited, and then I realized like, oh damn, this is awfully inconvenient. But just to tie in, from my really good friend from TCU, he lives in Pasadena, grew up there, and he and his wife actually introduced me to my wife, and that's how I ended up in the San Gabriel Valley.
Wow.
But yeah. So first off, what are your guys' thoughts on the bowl game? Like, what do you guys think about it?
Go ahead, Tim.
So I'm juggling. I'm having a problem with our.
Okay,
with our
I
phone.
can
Go
talk.
ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right there 1 second. Let me see if I should get this fixed. So if someone's trying to call and I can get them in.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, I'm excited about it. I think the draw is interesting. You know, it's funny. TCU finished like 9th in the Big 12, but they're 8-4. I mean, they weren't like a terrible team. That's just the way conferences are now with how big they are. You know, for first time Alamo Bowl. So that's kind of intriguing and a different environment. You know, it seems like we've been in the Holiday Bowl or the Vegas Bowl or the Sun Bowl, like if we haven't made a big Premier Bowl. So it's nice to get a little different one there. The game itself, you know, I need to dive more into the matchup, but USC on paper, you know, has the better offense and better defense. I think TCU has like the 70th ranked defense. So USC should be able to move the ball on them. But obviously, as we all know, in these bowl games, it's more of and coach, you've actually said this, it's more of a glorified spring game at this point where you just get kind of an extra reps for a lot of your young guys, which for me is actually really exciting. Like I'm excited to see a lot of these more young players play and kind of start the baton for next season. So I think there's a lot in the national out there that have said this is kind of a snooze matchup and they're not really excited about it. I'm actually really excited about it. So Coach, what do you think? You're still on the line. What do you think about the bowl game? You fired up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a so the most underrated conference in my opinion was the Big 12. The Big 12 was really good. Had a lot of, like you said, they were 9th and they finished 8-4. There's a lot of good football over there in the Big 12. So I mean, I don't think people are saying this new special. So, and I'm kind of going to go off top. The thing that's starting to kill me is people are starting to compare the wrong numbers to compare matchups, right? They're like, oh, they're 8-4. They're such and such. SC's going to blow them out. Nah, let's start looking at things. Where are they at defensively? Where do they do third down? What's their third down and first down? Like those types of things. TCU's offense is always going to be TCU. Well, the first thing we think of TCU is like, oh, offense. Where are we still struggling at? We're still struggling on defense, right? So what is that first drive going to look like? And both Ryan and Tim know how I feel about the first drive that he's been given the whole time. So it's it's interesting to see what will happen, right? It's one of those things where like they're playing a team that's really better than their record is. It's going to be a lot of points. That's one thing I can say. We'll see a lot of points. So we're going to see a lot. We're going to have a lot of points. And will SC's defense be able to hold? That's my biggest question. I guess that's been my question for how long you've been doing this, Ryan? Past 4 years?
Yeah. Every week for 4 years. Yep.
Every week for 4 years. Can the defense hold, right? And so that's going to be my question.
Yeah, if you guys hate Lincoln Riley's play calls from time to time, Kendall Briles will just drive you crazy. And Kendall Briles is good for at least 2 losses a year just based on his play calls alone.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought your connection to TCU, but also, you know, you have Sonny Dykes and what Coach just said. The question mark should it be, and it might be in this game, how many passing yards are given up in this game? So USC, especially if Jaden's there, but I mean, even if Husan Longstreet starts, and even without Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon, I think USC is obviously going to put up their yards in this game. The question is going to be is how many though, because Sonny Dykes is going to light up. He's going to light up. He's going to throw the ball, and they're one of the better passing teams in the country. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see in the game. I think USC is an early favorite, like by a touchdown in the game, but also another thing, you guys, this is one of those facts that I sickly have in the back of my head. There's not many teams in the country that have played USC 5 times and have a winning record against USC. TCU is one of those teams.
That's one of the things
TCU is 3-2 all time. I think you have Notre Dame and Alabama. Anyone out there that knows of another team that's played SC more than 5 or more times as a winning record? I'd love to hear it. I don't. Maybe some high school from back in 1888 in that range, possibly. But other than that, I don't think that anyone really. Let me know in the chat or in the comments after this if you guys know of a team out there that's played USC a minimum of 5 times. I don't mean, you're a Maryland and played 1 game and got a freak win against us. I mean, a body of work with at least 5 games where there's a winning record. And off the top of my head, there's no other school besides the 3 I named: Notre Dame, Alabama, and TCU. And this would be a perfect opportunity for USC to knot that up at 3-3.
Yeah, well, okay. So the cool thing is, so when I was at TCU, I worked on the football staff. I was there from '05 to '09. So my first game on staff, I was an equipment manager. We went up to Norman and we beat Oklahoma, and this is the same Oklahoma team where a couple of games, or their game before that, they just lost to USC in the Orange Bowl.
Hmm.
And we ended up winning that game, which was huge for us. And then we had a great run, and this was when Gary Patterson was the coach. My last game was the 2010 Fiesta Bowl when we lost that thriller to Boise, and then the very next year we go and win the Rose Bowl, which sucked to miss, but it was what it was. But I think the other story here, and something I think people take for granted a lot as SC fans, because we're used to big grandiose, and what people are losing now is that these bowl games are more than just glorified scrimmages. Like, they actually mean something, but the meaning gets lost because you're not always paying attention to it. In USC actually plays a huge part in modern TCU lore. So TCU does have a nice, rich football tradition. It does have a Heisman Trophy. It's got 2 national titles. They're in the 30s, but they count certainly more than Oregon. But for a while, TCU's program was as hard as Kansas State's before Bill Schneider.
Mhm.
And so that 98 year, that 98 Sun Bowl, USC fans, if they remember it, like, they just remember it as an embarrassing bowl loss in a year under Hackett that they'd all love to forget. Like, that game legitimized and launched TCU from just this team that had been kicked around from conference to conference to conference to what it eventually would become, which was a mid-major powerhouse that nobody wanted to play, to upgrading itself and moving up through the into the Big 12.
Mhm.
Right. And that's all launched from a bowl game that most people would love to forget. Like, these bowl games absolutely do mean something.
Mhm.
And USC getting to play people, as SC fans, we might not appreciate it, but, like, no, you are just adding to the very rich fabric of college football history. Like, if you followed the history of mid majors, especially in the mid 2000s, like TCU, Utah, Boise State, like what those teams could do in that time and what they represented to college football was hugely transformational. Like, the reason you have 2 mid-major teams in the college football playoff is because what those programs were able to do. And nobody would have guessed at the time, but a huge part of that was TCU beating USC in the '98 Sun Bowl. And the whole time I was on staff there, we had helmets from just teams that we had played, and none of the helmets in the equipment room that were just sitting on the shelves was any more important than that US Sun Bowl. Like, we talked about that game all the time. Like, that was a genesis of modern TCU football. And so, just a little piece of history I wanted to share to show, in a greater sense, what USC represents to college football, but ultimately how important these football games can be. And because he's listening, Gabe, you're absolutely right. This is going to be a fantastic uniform game, but don't you dare talk shit on those gray uniforms we have, the alternates with the red on them. Those things are damned cool.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I will tell you, Thomas. And I mean, you're a USC fan, and alternate uniforms with a lot of fans. I'll tell you this though. I mean, Gabe's not averse to all alternate uniforms. He and I, the old curmudgeon man in me, always argues about having a bunch of alternate uniforms, but he definitely in general is not. I think he's just talking about specific ones with TCU. But appreciate you calling in, Thomas. Great call. I know that, Ryan, you need to get out of here pretty soon, right? Top of the hour.
Boys,
So,
you guys
yeah.
have a great night. Thanks for taking
Thomas, hey, maybe I'll run into you at the Root over in Duarte. So good to.
But do you actually go to that thing?
I've been there a few times. Yeah, my sister-in-law goes there frequently.
All right. Well, maybe. My wife and I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old. So we don't do the dive bars a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, I got a 5-year-old and one on the way in 3 weeks. So I'm there with you. But if we ever, in 20 years from now, when our kids are grown, maybe we'll cross paths at the Root.
Absolutely, man. Take it easy.
Appreciate you,
great
brother.
call.
Bye-bye.
Great call, Thomas. Yeah, we had some good calls tonight. Really good calls tonight.
Well, I think.
Remember, guys,
go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is a call-in show, and like I said, I told you I'm gonna stay on as long as we're getting phone calls, and that's true. Like, for instance, J-Jubs, thank you. First off, thank you very much for being here and supporting the show. Thank you for comments. those are two things that really help this show out immaculately. One more thing you guys can do is hit that like button if you haven't already. That also really helps out this show. But J-Dubs, that's why I have this phone number right here for you to call. If you don't like someone talking TCU, who's both an SC fan and a TCU fan, give us a call. That's what a call-in show is about. We're here to hear from you guys. You let us know what you want to talk about. That's the theme of this show. I mean, too many times, that's why we had a true fan call-in show. That's the whole purpose of this. So make sure you guys are taking advantage of that with the phone line here. Also, I dropped the StreamYard link earlier. I'm going to be on here as long as we have phone calls, but if our phone calls dry up, then you don't have a show, Ryan, a call-in show without calls. So I appreciate all of you guys being here. Again, we've had about 120 people in here for a while. If you guys could just do us one small favor. We've been here for over an hour. All we ask from you is to hit that like button. It takes 5 seconds. It's free, and I promise you it's no skin off your back. So
with that, show. Tim, I am going to jump. Coach is going to stay here with you. And he got on his computer now, and he's got the beautiful Christmas tree in the background, which I'm loving to see.
We do have a backdrop.
So look at that.
Coach, I don't know if we have any phone calls. The problem. But we could sit here and chat for a few minutes. But I don't know what happened to our,
really?
I thought people wanted to talk the portal. I mean, people want to chat about the portal. I'm just wondering if people want to talk portal. We haven't had we've had a great call from Mitch. Obviously, you called in, and then we had one there from Thomas. But, yeah, interesting night on the call-in show.
Yeah, they want to hear you give all the answers. I mean, I'll leave you with this, and then I'll bounce. But I mean, we talked offense a lot in the beginning. I mean, defense is where this portal is going to have to go heavy. And, we mentioned the secondary right when Coach jumped on, but linebacker, obviously, I think is a big position that they'll look at. I know, obviously, the coaching staff, much to the chagrin of fan bases, but the coaching staff does seem very high still on Desmond Stevens and Jaden Walker, and they want to keep developing him. Elijah Newby and Tamir Robinson are two guys, both 235. We're talking about that size that they're looking for that should be back. So those are 4 guys there, but there are going to be some backers that hit the portal and more guys coming. One guy, I'm curious your guys' thought, Derek McDonald out of Syracuse. That's the one that I mean, he's applying for a medical red shirt, so he would be his 6th year. So got to make sure that clears. We don't want any DJ Wingfield situation of getting a guy to commit and all of a sudden they're not even eligible. So as long as that clears, though, I mean, he is a bona fide, true starting linebacker. Played for Fran Brown, which I know Coach loves. Coach loves him some Fran Brown, and I think he's a guy that could certainly, come in and be a starter and help these guys develop more. So guys like that is who I'd be looking for on the defensive side.
And I mean. There might also be they struck gold this year going when you bring in someone that leads your team in interceptions and unfortunately the season got cut short for Bishop Fitzgerald, but bring in that guy, veteran presence, because you lose Kamari Ramsey and you lose even though Bishop was only here for 1 year, we do have young talent again. But not a lot of coverage guys, guys I'm comfortable up on the line, guys as box safeties, but not guys that really we're going to have on the back end. So I look for that as another position where I think that they might dabble a little bit as well. So I'm with you. I think that the fundamental pieces for this program are in place for next year in 2026. It's just going to come down to a couple of Is that
buzzing? Is that you? It's
going to come down to a couple of positions, additions, and that veteran presence, because we know this team's young. This team was very young. We looked at it along, even though that you have guys that are a little bit older. When I say young, I mean guys with experience, actual playing experience in the Big Ten. And I think that, like you just said there, bringing in a veteran linebacker, maybe adding a veteran swing tackle, bringing in a veteran safety. I think these are positions where USC is going to need to make some hay. Guys were talking about Nick Marsh going to LSU. Listen, there's been a shakeup down there in Baton Rouge, and I'm telling you, look out for Lane Kiffin at LSU in recruiting. I think they just really upgraded from dancing Brian Kelly. I think that it's going to be a lot more serious down there. And whereas Sherrone Moore leaving Michigan, USC, I was talking to Gabe before the show, we don't compete with Michigan a lot for players. We really haven't, I mean, if you could someone in the chat could throw one out there for me. It just seems like a lot of our guys come down to well, just not Michigan. And it'll be interesting to see Lane kind of making moves. Remember, it was people were talking about Lane Kiffin and LSU making a big run late in the game to pick up. I'm blanking on our number. My favorite recruit on the team and offensive lineman.
Kenai Pepe.
No, Bowman, Mark Bowman from. Kenai Pepe is gonna make the biggest impact, I think, early on. Him or Brett Koleje. But I mean, a guy that's really going to make a massive impact to be Bowman. I mean, just a guy that's just with his ability at the tight, such a weapon at offense. But there's rumors that it was Lane Kiffin make it a huge run. And I'm telling you, that Lane Kiffin offense with him at LSU, guys, look out. I just think that I made the joke. Now, Grant, remember this. It was in the middle of the early 2010s. I said that. I thought with the addition, the way that Kiffin was chased out of here, I said, you watch, he's going to win a national championship before USC. And now he's at LSU, guys. There's a shot at that. There's a chance that could happen. So watch out for Baton Rouge.
Yeah. You guys discuss that, Coach. I want you to discuss, you guys discuss that. I just got to jump, but I wanted to say, Tim, appreciate you. Thank you. Coach, I miss you. Great to see you. We'll do this again. Trojan family, thank you. But yeah, you guys discuss that, but I'm going to bow out. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
See you, Ryan.
See you, Ryan.
Hey, Tim, let me ask you this question though, Tim. Honest question. So Michigan has 2 running backs, and they're in dismay right now. Do you take a chance on one of those running backs?
You're cutting out for me, Coach. I'm not sure. Can you repeat that? It's not just you. Sorry, throughout the show, people have been cutting out. So I mean, it may not be. It might be me.
Do you take a chance on one of those 2 Michigan running backs?
I think the one position that we are covered at. Well, I mean, we didn't get to see Haynes play because he was injured, but he is uber talented. And one thing Lincoln Riley has done is go after and bring in a veteran guy. But I don't know if you were here when I talked about it, but I mean, I'm really high on what we have. I mean, I know that Eli Sanders is doesn't have any more eligibility left, but I like the young guys in the room. And then Waymo, I think miss him not being in the Notre Dame game and the Oregon game. I think losing him for those games is big, and along with Elijah Page, I think is bigger than anyone really realizes. And then having King Miller back there, and then just a stable of young guys. I'd rather see our NIL money go to like an alpha wide receiver 1 kind of guy. I'd like to see a very solid swing tackle. So no, I mean running back. Whereas it'd be great to get a Haynes King in here. That would be amazing. I don't think that's. I just think the NIL money could go somewhere else from what we already have, in my opinion, on the roster. What do you think?
Would you take anybody? No, I agree. They are deep there. I was just curious, like, if they were interested, do you just take? I would personally. I'll take a shot. I'll get them for 1 year, and that just blows your offense up. But if it's me, and if I'm Mark Bowman, the GM of USC, I'm making a run at that whole roster. You know what I mean? Am I still breaking up? Sorry.
Again, there was the earlier caller, Thomas, who was also on StreamYard, not the phone calls, but I was having a hard time. It's not that I can't hear you. It's just that you're bouncing out a little bit. Again, it very well could be on my end. So don't worry. I'm sure that the audience can hear you. Go ahead.
Well, what I was saying was, if it's me and I'm Mark Bowman, I'm taking a shot at anybody on the Michigan roster. I'm making a run at the Michigan roster right now. Especially up front. Anything up front, I'm taking a shot at it. I'm making a run at it, and I'm going to throw money at it. You just have to.
I'm sorry. Someone in the chat, they could tell me. Yeah, Coach, you are cutting out on me. But it's like I'm getting 4 out of 5 words. I'm just missing 1 word, and this is a known issue with my. Hey guys, I want to donate a new soundboard. That'd be great because that's where the trouble is with my soundboard. But I think if I heard you right, I think you're talking about taking a shot at a lineman. Is that what you said up front?
I'm taking a shot at the whole Michigan front seven on both sides.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really, to be honest, Coach, I wasn't overly impressed with Michigan. Now, if you talk about the year before, the talent, but I think that Michigan definitely had a drop off. I'm sure that they have talented the guys on the team without a doubt, and that they'll be in the portal if it fits one of the. If they got a Michigan guy that fits one of the criteria I said, I'm all about it. I wasn't really overly impressed with Michigan's offensive line. Again, Michigan people in the chat or anybody out there, if you guys want to correct me on that one, I'm here. But I mean, again, I love King. He's a stud. But I don't really know what Michigan might want to worry about. You know, is retaining the roster, because that could go sideways really quick. And again, all jokes aside and everything, I hope everything's fine with Sherrone Moore, because I mean this man's seen his life turn upside down in a very quick period of time. So I truly hope that
very quick
he and his family come out of this thing unscathed, because it won't be unscathed, because obviously there's some news coming out, but prayers and thoughts are out to him, because I think we live in a fishbowl society where people want to judge and look at all this other stuff. I don't know all the details yet, so I'm gonna be careful about defending anybody. I'm just hoping you don't want to see anybody's life unravel more than his life already has. We got a call, Coach. You want to give it a try? Sorry, I'm just having a hard time hearing you. I don't know.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I got you loud and clear now.
It was my microphone. I apologize. Long time.
No,
this is like
no worries. Caller, hang on 1 second. All right, you ready, Coach? We got a call. Now get your mic fixed. We got a call. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, right on time, man. This is John from Detroit. What's up, Tim?
Hey, what's up, John? Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. I just looking at, and I know he's still in. They holding them down, man. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm sure tomorrow when I get up, I'm sure all of the sports shows, the Michigan State people will be glad to be. You know, it's one of those things. I know we talking about the portal tonight, and I called last week. Congratulations to us for having the number one recruiting class. And you know, I'm looking at this, and I was looking at what we did, and you know, maybe on this too. I still felt even one recruiting class, and we always have to recruit the state of California. You always hear from, especially from people in the, and you know, they always say, well, you don't make enough out there, you know, up front and whatever and stuff like that. They don't go out there like that. But I'm looking at even in this recruiting class that we just got, I feel in the state left a lot of meat on the bone. I mean by that is that even though we did well, no doubt about it, we did what we normally do. We guys in the state, but we cherry picked. But then when I look at the top 20, we still lost out on. When I'm talking about leaders, I'm not talking about wide receivers or defensive backs. But when I'm looking at this guy Green in Washington, you know, I was 47. I've always been watching them when with stuff, and it was like number one player. He ended up going to Washington. There was another guy, Wilder, who ended up going to. He's a defensive lineman. The first guy that I mentioned, he was an offensive lineman. He's like, you know, like 320. And the guy from the San Francisco area, Tommy, he ended up going to Oregon. He's like 6. And then Jay, another one, defensive lineman. He ended up going. Matter of fact, out of the top 20, we got California and Washington got 4. And saying, you know, we're doing a great job. How do we tighten up on them linemen, man? We gotta, and don't get me wrong, cherry pick and go and get linemen from other places. But I always think that Cali's got to be our first base. You know, as far as getting players, because you know, the more you can keep home, the more players will want to stay home. And I'm glad that we came up with the money, was able to do what we needed to. And you know, what do you guys think about that? How can we tighten the strings on that, man? Because I'm greedy. For linemen, I want to have all of them.
Yeah, you want to jump on that, Coach? Well, you're talking to a high school coach here in Southern California, so I think I'll defer to him. But I would tell you that Kenai Pepe and although they're IMG, they're not Florida guys, you know. And I do think, by the way, really quick,
I know that.
I mean, I consider now, because there's so much of the mass migration of people from Southern California moving out to Arizona, moving out to Vegas, you know, and then also, you know, in Utah, just I've always, you know, they're on the right side of the Rockies in my book. So I mean, those three states really to me are just an extension of Southern California, just simply because of the way demographics have changed out of Southern California. I think those are your traditional Trojan base, and so as an extension, you know, we've seen a lot more people out of Arizona. You know, not just linemen. I mean, you look at a guy like Jacoby Lane, right? I mean, you bring in guys from all over. You got great programs like Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. Actually, a couple schools now in Las Vegas. So there's more than just, when I think of Southern California, I think really is extended out to those states as well. But I'd love to hear, Coach, what are your thoughts on it?
So here, recruiting has changed. And everybody still wants recruiting to be, we have to get a stronghold in California. We have to keep everybody home. That recruiting is no longer a regional thing, right? Recruiting is now a national thing ever since the SEC started cheating and started actually paying players to go wherever they wanted to go. It became a national thing, right? Even with this NIL. Now, the goal is keep majority of the top players in the state, which I think they did a good job at. Right. So as long as you're keeping a good percentage of the top players in the state and get them to go to SC, you're doing an excellent job. As long as you still keep the top 10 class, you're still doing a good job. You're never going to be able to keep 100%, and you're going to miss. And the thing with the linemen, I don't understand how they recruit linemen, so I can't answer that question. I don't know how their whole recruiting lineman is. They never go get the big burly guy, right? They never go get the big monster guy. Their guys are always a little bit kind of a tweener between. They're truly a Big Ten guard is playing tackle at SC, if size wise. So like when you see the 6'6" guy that's a monster, you'd be like, well, why is he not going to SC? He probably didn't even get recruited at SC. So so that's the thing too. You're not going to get them all. As long as you capture a good percentage of the Southern California kids, I think you're doing a good job, and I think they did do a good job with that.
And I think the one thing I'm with you, John. I hear you say you want to keep all the local big guys here, but I'm kind of hard pressed to criticize this offensive line haul. I mean, the last couple of years it just seems like started last year, and then with Chad. Yeah, with Chad, thank you. With Chad Bowden coming in, it doubled down on it, because that's, again, my dad talks about the McKay years forever, and really coaching 101, it all starts up front. And so, especially in the Big Ten.
I'm a McKay guy, bro.
Yeah. Well,
I'm definitely a McKay guy. You know, and something else I want to run by you guys, get off, and I get off the phone after this. When Texas won their last, and Steve starts teaching, he started politicking. Team lost 3 games and really got killed by Florida. I'm like, wait a minute, we lost 3 games. Why ain't nobody speaking up for us? I mean, why didn't Lincoln Riley come out and start this? I mean, I don't think a 3-loss team should have got in, but I'm like, wait a minute, we lost 3 games. We were in every game that we actually played. You know, so we just gotta I think sometimes we gotta get out there, man, and we gotta start the battle cry a little bit, man. You know, I'm happy with the season. I'm looking to go even further, even next year. And you know, as I told you, Tim, I'm invested in this team, man. I'm invested in this team, and I like the direction and the way that we're going into, and the way that we're headed. So, you know, I'm just to the bowl game just to see some of the players that I hadn't seen play, and I'm looking forward to see how we do that and how we handle that. So I'm going to be excited this whole off season, and you know, and you agree with him when he said something about poaching some of the guys from Michigan. There are a few guys on Michigan's team on the ball line and offensive line especially on the offensive line, that I would like to have. There's a couple. maybe a couple guys.
Well,
So that's all I got.
I always love when you call in, John. I could, you do. You're all about the trenches, and I'm same. We're cut from the same cloth, man. So I'm with you. I think to say that the fact, I think what their argument is that they're lost, but you have a hard time selling this Florida loss. I mean, losing to a really bad Florida team, but they have a quality win against Oklahoma. I mean,
Oh yeah.
USC. The thing with USC is we played the role of Penn State this year. We beat everyone we're supposed to beat, which is a good start, and we lost to the team, so we had to go steal one, right? On the road, we need to steal one up, in Eugene, steal one in South Bend. Couldn't get that done. The one game that comes back to haunt us, the fact our defense could not get a freaking stop in Champaign, Illinois.
The Illinois game.
That right there is a difference. And I'm with you. You get that third loss, you just start whining because, quite frankly, I hate 12 teams. When we go to 16 teams, I'm going to hate it too because we're college fans. This is not the NFL. You lose 2 games, you don't deserve to win a national championship in my book. This whole playoff thing, and we're making it into the NFL, and they'll argue, well, it's the best way to figure out. I know, but that's why it's called the college game. Call me crazy, but that was the whole point. When you're in Ohio State last year, you lose 2 games, you don't win your conference, and you lose to your rival, and you win the national champion. I'm sorry, that's just not supposed to happen. It just isn't. They were truly the best team. I think they truly were the best team last year in college football. But this is college. But the best team. Talk to the 2008 Trojans. Talk to the 2002 Trojans. Talk to the 2007 Trojans, who were probably the best teams in the country. But that's why we play college football, because every game counts. You go up to Corvallis, or you go up to the Palouse, and you fall asleep at the wheel, or you're at the Rose Bowl and you lose 13-9. You don't.
Hey, man, that still hurts.
I'm just saying. Well, Coach, I hope you agree with me. The USC was the best team in the country, but they lose a game and then they're excluded from it. That's what made college football special, the regular season.
Yeah.
And these networks.
I got one better for you than that. I got one when Salisbury was a quarterback. Okay. And that year when Pittsburgh. Yep. When Pittsburgh won it, he'd tell you he messed it up. We were up 21-0. With 21-0, and we ended up tying Stanford 21-21. That cost us the national championship. So I remember the losses. I remember the losses where we should have been in it, where we could have won it. I remember that because, like I said, I'm a little older than you guys. I'm 68, so I've been a fan since '69. So I mean, I got Sports Illustrated books. I got all that stuff. So it's like, that's the one.
You go back to
that happened.
OJ was 768, huh? You're close to OJ, right? At that age group. 68. Yeah, I think my dad, I'm trying to remember. My dad, I believe, got there in something like 65, I think, for his first of 3 degrees. Okay. Like, I literally grew up on the campus. My dad loved USC so much. He got 3 degrees from USC. I was there, I was a kid growing up on the campus. He just didn't want to leave USC. And why would he? That was during the McKay era you're talking about. So why would he want to leave? I got the Paul Hackett years.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. Yeah, I remember them too.
Cool.
Yeah, them
for undergrad.
Down years, but yeah. But every time we come out there, man, my wife would get mad because I'm always going to the campus, going to the bookstore, getting me jerseys, getting me T-shirts. She's like, "Why we got to spend so much time here?" I'm like, "Well, spend the time checking you shopping." So hey, I try to get my thing in too. But hey guys, great show, Tim. We try to check in with you next week, Coach. First time, man, being on the air with you, man. I've seen you on other podcasts and stuff, man. You guys do a great job, man. And being back here in Michigan, man, when I tell guys, man, I'm going on a podcast tonight. Hear my boys, they were like, "Man, you just USC. Won't you just move to Cal?" I say, "Hey, man, I love USC. What can I say? That's my team. I mean, what can I say? When I was a kid and they was doing their thing, going to the Rose Bowl, playing Michigan, Ohio State every year, SC was throwing the ball. The other two teams wasn't. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and I said, hey, look at the cheerleaders. I say, hey, USC had the prettier cheerleaders in the warm weather. I've been hooked, man, ever since, like I said, 1969. So fight on, Trojans. Love you guys. All right.
I'll tell you this, John. You're right about USC throwing the ball, but man, they could run the ball. Throwing the ball, but man, they could run the ball pretty good in those years you're talking about as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sam Bam, Anthony Davis,
Charles White, Marcus
Charles
Allen.
White,
Yeah. The list goes on and on with the running backs. Lynn Kane. I mean, there's some really good running backs in those John Robinson years as well. Again, before my time, but I grew up with my dad, and so I know all about those guys.
Can I address something real quick? So he said something about the 3 loss and how come Lincoln Riley wasn't petitioning. You addressed it really well. I will say this. Yeah, Ricky Bell's a good one too. Ricky Bell popped up in the comments. We're the only team that's not allowed to lose more than 1 game in order to make the playoff. USC will never get into the playoff as a 2-loss team. Everybody else will, but USC will never get in as a 2-loss playoff team. Never, ever. If they do, they will have to lose the conference championship, and that conference championship will have to be their 2nd loss. I guarantee you.
I think the conferences are changing. I think the view of the Big Ten is changing. I think the stranglehold the SEC has on the sport. But remember this. This is why I hate a committee. You have people banging the table from the 4-letter network from Connecticut that has a vested stake in the SEC, and Notre Dame just got burned. And Notre Dame, you first off, join a conference. I've been saying that for a minimum of 3 years now. But join a conference and you can't really complain about it. 81, right, Victor? I think 81 is when Marcus won his Heisman. Check me on that one. I'm not sure. SEC, a committee can be rigged. A committee, you can control a committee. That's why I hate the damn committee. Why not just go back to the voting and the polls and do it that way? Because the polls are going to do fine getting 12. I would say also with regard to the auto bids, when you're leaving, and I know we like to jab at Notre Dame as much as we want to jab at Notre Dame, but leaving out teams that far down and then playing like James Madison is a great story. Don't get me wrong, and all that stuff. But I mean, like guys playing in order to get into the teams we hear late in this thing, and then excluding in the end, leaving out a Notre Dame, and then having a Miami leapfrog them at the very end. Just, the committee, there's no consistency at all to the committee, and there's got to be collusion. I mean, there's no way you have all that money wrapped up in ESPN and they don't have their hands all over. It's just like they had their hands all over what's been happening in college football for the past 7-8 years. So
no, and the reason why I say that, there is a lot of media hate for USC. Like, it's so bad. Like, Nick Saban is even in on now, which is crazy. There's a lot of media hate for USC. I'll give you an example. If SC was undefeated going into the Big Ten championship, if it was SC instead of Indiana, and if SC would have lost that game, they would have dropped us down two places, guaranteed. We saw it all year, like how far we would drop after we lose the game. Like, dang, like it's pretty inconsistent. There's a lot of media hate for SC. For some reason, they don't want SC, and it might be the 4-letter network, but like SC has to be damn near perfect consistently every year in order to get a high playoff seed. A lot of people might not believe me, but I've seen it. We used to blame the computer when I was playing. We blame the computer. Like, you're putting it all on a computer. You put it all on the computer. Like, you can't put it on the computer.
Well, I mean, in 2003 season is the first time in the history of college football that a team was number 1 in both polls at the end of the regular season and won their bowl game against a good Michigan team, by the way, in the Rose Bowl. It was the first time in the history of college football that USC in 2003 was ranked number 1 in both polls. A computer kept the BCS computer kept them out of the game. Clearly, it was a bad call. LSU to this day is still bitter about it, but I can't remember seeing something on Twitter. Someone put out the point that they actually gave Lane Kiffin a credit for that be on that national championship squad in 2003. Whoever was on doing that press release didn't read the manifesto. It says it didn't happen for USC from the people in Baton Rouge, but I'm with you, Coach. In 2008, before you had Pete Bavacqua up there complaining about Notre Dame, before you had Sarkisian and all these guys politicking to get their teams into the playoffs, you had, I do remember this, in 2008, you had Timmy Tebow crying for the media about this will never happen. The big thing behind that, they kept arguably one of the greatest defenses of all time and a pretty powerful offense in 2008. That team could have beat anybody. I would have loved to have played that Florida team. I mean, they were loaded too. Percy Harvin. I mean, they had playmakers all over that field. But man, that 2008 USC team was really special, and they kept them out of that game. So I'm with you, Coach. SC's got to go a little step above in order to do stuff. Yep. Now the key to this thing is it's just very simple. Win your damn conference.
Right.
Win your damn conference, you're fine. Lose 1 or 2 games, and you're fine. Lose that third game, lose that second game, and then you open it up. And you're right. That's where USC has to be near perfect because they're probably not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think if you're going to get an SEC team, they're still keep throwing that down your throat. That it's an SEC. This is the SEC. They're finally going to a 9 game conference schedule. We'll see how that affects a lot of these guys' records going forward as well.
Yeah, and there's a such thing as a bad loss now, right? There's a bad loss. Let me ask you this question. Let's say
that's why Texas isn't in.
Yeah, but Notre Dame got in last year and they lost to Northern Illinois. Remember that? It was a bad loss. The early losses. So why is SC not allowed to have early losses?
I just think it's the fact USC this year did not win. What's USC's?
No, you're right.
Best win. They don't have a quality win.
They don't.
They had opportunities to beat Notre Dame. They had the opportunity to beat Oregon, and they didn't. They didn't even beat Illinois, which didn't even. That's a fairly bad. I don't say it's bad. It's just a loss. It's a road loss. It's a conference loss against an all right team.
But it's one of those early losses. It's an early loss. It was an early loss. It was in September.
5th game. I mean, that's not that early. It's not like Texas or Notre Dame losing. It's not like losing the first game of the season.
But to answer his question, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying I agree with your point about the fact that it just seems like from where we're standing from, and history does back this up, that you just have to be a little on the West Coast, the whole thing with Heisman trophies. I mean, outside of USC, and then recently now you had with Oregon having some success at quarterback. But in general, it was an East Coast award, a Midwest award, a South award. The West Coast outside of USC, it was rare. Did John Elway win? I can't remember. Did he win? I don't know.
I think he did.
I can't. I think Plunkett won. One of those Stanford quarterbacks. Someone let me know. But there weren't a lot of Charlie Baker or whatever his name is back at Oregon State 100,000 years ago. But West Coast, you don't really get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to football. They don't realize they like to point it means more in the SEC, and that everybody grows up in the crib in the Midwest. With their college that teams that they're going to follow. That's all true. But West Coast fans are just as rabid. It just doesn't seem like there's many of us as there are other parts of the country. Because you know what? There's a hell of a lot more options. And the Midwest and the South don't want to hear that. But it's true.
It is true. And to clear up all this playoff stuff, and a lot of people don't hear it and want to hear it, and I have this argument all the time, that they're making the playoffs way too hard. Way too hard. Especially when they go to the 16 team, making it way too hard. You win your conference, you're in. Right? So we got Power 4. There's 4 spots already. Those 4 spots get in. Win your conference, you're automatically in. Not the group of 5. That we'll get into those later. You win that conference, you're in. Then you take the highest ranked teams after that, put them in. Right? That pretty much becomes all the conference and the conference runners up. Then you take, that leaves 8. You got the spots. Then you start taking those at-large bids. So Notre Dame could have got in. If you have a problem with it, the only way you fix the problem is by winning. There's no how do you
join conference.
You said what?
Yeah. Or join a conference.
Yeah.
I mean,
win. People don't like winning anymore.
Now there's an exception, Coach. And this is the things that piss me off. So there's exception for, I believe it's only for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame has an exception, not this year, but next year, that if they're in the top 12, if they finish in the top 12, they have an auto bid. Only Notre Dame. Only Notre Dame.
They won't have enough.
That, Coach, that is what you call
participation.
They have a huge fan base, and the networks want them in. That's what that's called. So I guess I'm talking out both sides of my mouth because I'm saying ESPN kept them out to bring in Alabama, but at the same time, two things could be true. You know, they have Alabama and Miami. I mean, both things can be true at the same time.
Also, this is NCAA has had a tournament in football for millions of years, and they've been successful, but they were afraid to do it like the other divisions because of the greenbacks. That's also one thing you need to know too. Why you think North Dakota State's been in the playoff forever? So that's also worked. So there you go.
Well, guys, it was a great call. Thank you so much to Mitch, actually, Coach, for you calling, but Thomas from Duarte, John from Detroit. We had some great calls tonight. Appreciate you guys. We went a little bit long. I've been on here for almost an hour. I've been over an hour and a half here. So if you're still here and you haven't already, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, it's really, really important to the show. Again, I'll give you an hour and a half of my time. I just ask you for 1 second of your time to hit that like button. Appreciate you guys all being here. And if you haven't subbed up, if you guys want the best information of recruiting, it's going to heat up right now. You know, you need to be watching this channel and Ryan Dyrud, who's going to be giving you guys information. My guy Gabe, who always supports this channel, this show, you know, his channel. They're going to give you between the two, you 2 channels. All you got to watch 2 channels, and you're going to have all the recruiting news you're ever going to need. Thanks. A big shout out to Gabe. If you guys go check out his awards video he just did, he gave us a huge award amongst his very prestigious awards. He gave us Channel of the Year. And I got to tell you, Ryan Dyrud has been doing his best to get this thing rolling. You guys, we are just rocketing up with subscribers. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so right now. But I think we're closing up the rare era of 400. I think we're getting 400 new subs a month, which is awesome. Appreciate everyone being here. There's still 71 of you guys. So some of you must have liked something here tonight. We're here every Wednesday. I do appreciate our calls. I'm looking for those first-time callers. Give us a call. Talk about the Trojans. I'm always, my favorite calls, you guys, if you've been watching me over the years, I love those Notre Dame calls. I love those Oklahoma calls. Oh, that's when I really warm up. Believe me, that's when this show gets pretty lively. So appreciate everyone of you again being here. Coach, thank you for coming and helping us out. Ryan had to get out of here early tonight. It's always good to see Coach. Guys, if you're new to the channel, Coach is a fixture of this channel for years. Been working as a coach, or like a coach, a high school coach this past year, and it's always great to have you stop by.
Yep, I'll stop by next Monday. Let me know the time. You guys have my numbers. Well, you have my
Monday.
number.
Well, we do. I don't think we're doing a show on Monday. We do.
I don't know why I'm thinking
video.
Tim. Sorry, I'm thinking today's Monday. Today is Wednesday.
Say again.
We're doing this. I said I don't know why I was thinking today is Monday. Today's Wednesday. I apologize.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. Yeah, we're here, you guys. You guys, we're gonna be here throughout the off season. That's for sure. Last second, if you guys want to, Tim, you should have included post a fan of the year award. Oh, I hope that's not me. Lucky, I hope you're not referring to me on this one, but I will try to win that award. I will absolutely campaign for that on next year for Gabe.
This lucky dude just said that I was wrong about that we'll never get in if we have 2 losses.
I'm having the hardest time hearing you, Coach.
The lucky dude said I was wrong. He said it was a hot take that I said we'll never get in if we have 2 losses.
I would have to tell you, Coach, I think that it depends. I would not say the word never, but I would say there's other schools that are probably positioned to get in ahead of us. But I do say this. I think that, for instance, if USC had 2 losses, let's say USC, for instance, had lost to Illinois and let's say they lose to, we didn't really play anybody worth a lick, but that we beat Oregon, right? So let's say we beat Oregon and we lose to, I don't know, Notre Dame on the road and Illinois. I think we get in. I think we would have been in this year.
No,
listen, there's no way for me to know. You very well could, and we just talked about historically 2003, right? 2008. Heck, even even in 2002, where they had some early losses, that trip up at Kansas State and I think it was Washington State, no one wanted to play that Orange Bowl team in 2002 led by Carson Palmer. I mean, he could that team scared everybody. But I would say that USC would have a harder time, but I have to agree if you're saying never, I'd have to go with lucky on that one. It's just going to depend on.
I know never's a broad statement. I know never's a broad statement, but it will be really hard. And then if we are left out, they'll say they just didn't look very good and this and that. I've seen it since I've been on campus there in 2006. There's always been some type of reason.
And I think you hit on it. I think you hit on this year. Hey guys, let's face it. This was not a championship team. There is a lot of talent. There's a lot of championship talent on this team, without a doubt. You don't get a better duel than Lane and Lemon. You just don't. You don't get a better duel than that. Jada Mayava made huge strides this year. But if you watch our line play this year, we had no injury luck. Again, we lost Page for both the two toughest games of the year. You know, we lost our running back 1, running back 2 for the two biggest games of this year. And injuries are a part of football, but the pieces that USC lost this year, it did show that we are still building. You're still building that championship depth. If you look at the teams, why those Nick Saban teams were so dominant, why those Kirby Smart Georgia teams were so dominant, look at the depth they had on their defensive front seven, the talent they had on those teams. Just the absolute depth on the O-line, defensive line, linebackers at those schools. Look at those really good Dabo Swinney Clemson teams and the depth they had on defense. That's the kind of situation you need to be in that rare air. Look at the entire Pete Carroll era and the way Pete Carroll was able to stack all those guys. You can't do that now with the portal. But what you can do is build the line depth that they're doing on both sides of the line right now, so that when you lose 1, 2 crucial offensive linemen, that your entire offensive line doesn't have to be reshuffled, and your quarterback who looked poised all year starts not looking like himself. And people always want to point at the quarterback, but realistically, a lot of time, Jada Mayava had either an offensive lineman stepping, so he couldn't step into a throw, or a defensive lineman, or both, right in his face as he's trying to release the ball. And that's going to make even a guy with NFL arm talent like Jada Mayava look mediocre at times. And that was rare. But it almost never happened when he had a clean pocket. So I'm just saying, you guys, no one wants patience these day and age where you have an Indiana come on like gangbusters and just take on the whole thing. But you guys should say that. You got improvement, and you cannot say when they bring in the number 1 recruiting class, this is not a recruiting class full of safeties and wide receivers. Oh, it is. Sorry. But I mean, our past classes, when you get a top 10 under a Helton, it was all skill guys. The crux, the core that makes me excited about this USC recruiting class is on both sides of the offense, on the offensive line and defensive line. So we're going to get out of here. Been out about an hour and 40 minutes. Again, thank you guys so much. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. I didn't see a lot of questions. I'm sorry if you guys did ask a question. I kept looking. We did not have a lot of questions in the chat, but appreciate everyone being here as always. Coach, again, I appreciate you stopping by to join the show. You guys make sure you check us out.
Wednesday. I'll stop by next Wednesday if you want me to.
Okay. All right. We can do that. Next Wednesday, you guys, we're here every single Wednesday for the call-in show. Hopefully next week we're going to have Coach, we're going to have a bunch of calls. So it's not just going to be, me talking, and Ryan, or you coming on talking. It's going to be our callers, because this is a call-in show, and we appreciate everyone being here. Again, one last time, thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, John, for the calls today. Appreciate you guys. If you're on the fence, make sure you call in. Until next Wednesday, make sure you're checking out Ryan. He'll be here daily. Something hops they can't really make any moves in the portal, but you're going to see more Trojans. You're going to see it. More Trojans entering the portal, and you see some names start to surface as some very serious targets that USC will be going after. Appreciate you all. And remember, you guys, till next Wednesday. Right on.